Patience. It's a word we hear often, usually paired with the phrase, good things come to those who wait. But how often do we believe it? In the small, quiet town of Saint Clément, there was one woman who truly put this saying to the test, and in doing so, changed not only her life, but the lives of many around her. Her name was Camille Rousseau. Camille wasn't famous, she wasn't wealthy, she wasn't even particularly lucky. She worked as a florist at a tiny shop on the corner of Rue des Cerisiers, arranging bouquets of lilies, roses, and sunflowers for birthdays, weddings, and funerals. She loved her job, but her real dream, her cherished hidden dream, was to create a garden unlike anything the world had seen. Not just any garden, though. Camille envisioned a sanctuary full of rare and endangered flowers from around the globe. She wanted it to be a place where beauty and conservation intertwined, where people could learn about protecting fragile ecosystems while basking in the wonder of nature. But dreams, as they often are, were expensive. Camille struggled to save her modest earnings. Week after week, she'd stash away a few euros, hoping one day she could afford the land, seeds, tools, and permits necessary for her vision. And week after week, it seemed as though her goal grew further away. Bills piled up, unexpected expenses drained her savings, and St. Clement's economy wasn't exactly booming. Still, Camille didn't give up. While others might have faltered under the weight of frustration, she clung to her dream like ivy clings to stone. In her small apartment with peeling wallpaper and a perpetually dripping faucet, she spent her evenings sketching designs for the garden, researching flowers that could coexist in harmony, and teaching herself how to propagate the most delicate species. Her patience was remarkable, but her journey was far from easy. She faced skepticism from nearly everyone: family, friends, customers, even strangers. "Camille, be realistic," her mother would say over Sunday lunch. "You can barely make ends meet as a florist. Why waste your time chasing something impossible?" Her best friend, Sophie, wasn't much more encouraging. "I love you, Camille, but dreams like that are for people with investors and connections, not for people like us." Even the elderly lady who ran the bakery across the street had her doubts. "Oh, mon chouette, don't chase clouds," she'd mutter kindly while handing Camille her morning croissant. But Camille didn't let their words deter her. She had learned that patience is not just about waiting, it's about perseverance, about holding on to hope even when the world says to let go. Every time she tied a ribbon around a bouquet in her shop, she imagined the flowers she'd plant in her garden. Every euro she tucked into her savings jar felt like one step closer to her dream. Then one year, her fourth year of saving, something changed. That spring, Saint Clément began hosting its annual Festival de Fleurs, a bustling celebration filled with flower parades, garden exhibits, and horticultural contests. Camille had taken part in the festival for years, selling fresh bouquets and small potted plants at a humble stall. But this year, she noticed something different. The municipality was hosting a major competition. The challenge? Submit a transformative, eco-conscious garden design. The prize? 10,000 euros and a plot of land for 3 years where the winner could execute their vision. Camille's heart raced as she read the announcement on the flyer. It felt like destiny, like fate was finally throwing her a line after years of waiting. But even as excitement bubbled inside her, doubt whispered in her ear. Could she compete against professional landscape architects? Would her design outshine those of competitors with degrees and fancy portfolios? She swallowed her fear. Patience isn't just about waiting, she reminded herself. It's about believing. She spent days refining her entry, perfecting every last detail. She drew inspiration from the sketches she'd created over years, crafting a concept that wove together aesthetics, education, and conservation. Her garden plan included interactive flower beds, shaded walkways, and information plaques teaching visitors about rare species. When the time came, Camille walked into the town hall and handed over her submission. Her hands shook as she placed the thick folder on the receptionist's desk. "Bonne chance," the woman said kindly. Camille nodded, praying silently that patience at last would be her ally. The waiting period dragged on like molasses. Weeks turned into months, each day feeling heavier than the last. Camille tried to distract herself with work, but every time the phone rang, her heart leapt with the hope that it might be the judge's calling. and yet silence stretched on. Finally, one summer morning, an envelope arrived in her mailbox. Camille stared at it for what felt like an eternity, her fingers trembling as she tore it open. Inside was a single sheet of paper bearing the town's insignia and one stunning sentence. Félicitations, Camille Rousseau. Your design has been selected as the winner of the Festival de Fleurs garden competition. Tears spilled down Camille's cheeks as she clutched the letter to her chest. After years of saving, dreaming, and fighting doubt, her patience had been rewarded. She had done it. The following months were a whirlwind. Camille worked tirelessly to bring her design to life, transforming the vacant plot of land into the sanctuary she had always envisioned. Volunteers from the community pitched in, inspired by her perseverance and her passion for preserving endangered species. Children helped plant seedlings, retirees built benches, and local artisans contributed handcrafted decorations. Together, they transformed the plot into a beautiful sanctuary, realizing Camille's dream with collective effort and shared passion. When the garden officially opened in spring, it was nothing short of magical. Visitors flocked from nearby towns and cities, marveling at the kaleidoscope of colors and the intricate design. Camille's rare flowers flourished, their delicate petals telling the story of ecosystems that needed protection. People laughed, learned, and lingered, leaving with not just photographs, but a deeper appreciation for nature. But perhaps the most remarkable thing about Camille's garden was the way it brought people together. Families bonded over the beauty of the flowers, amateur gardeners exchanged tips, and environmentalists held workshops under the shade of its weeping willow. Camille's patience hadn't just rewarded her, it had created something that enriched the entire community. Years later, St. Clement's Floral Sanctuary remained a thriving centerpiece of the town. And every time someone walked through its gates, Camille would smile, knowing the truth of her journey. Patience hadn't just helped her achieve a dream, it had shown her that with hope and hard work, impossibilities could blossom into reality. So the next time life tests your patience, remember Camille Rousseau. Remember the florist who spent years pursuing a wild, improbable dream, and how persistence turned her waiting into a beautiful reward. Because good things don't just come to those who wait, they come to those who believe.